The fifth best game of the year is Sparking Zero. Oh, I haven't seen this intro yet, have I? Oh shit, I haven't. I like this music choice. Oh, I have seen this actually. I've seen this. This shit's beautiful. Jern wins. Man, I'm so hyped. This fight was actually a fight I would love to see. Even though I got my money on Jern. He's just a better fighter. And he ain't weak, so. Is Jern not gonna charge up? Oh, Jern's a villain, I'm tripping. Or he's supposed to be considered a villain. Alright, did he just disappear? Sparking Zero is amazing. It's amazing. Especially if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan. Dragon Ball Z is another one of my favorite animes. And I think if you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, the game does a lot for you, even more for those who are not. Because you notice the small things in the game. You notice certain characters, you see the movesets like, oh, this is from that movie and this is from that scene. And it's like, that does a lot because it never goes away. Even a few months have passed and you still see like Goku say, you see Goku do Dragon Fist or Super Saiyan 3 when he raises his hands in the air and you're like, oh, that's from the scene in the movie. And it's just like, them things always hit your brain because it's just, you're connecting one and one. The story mode, I didn't like the story mode that much, and that's why it's number 5. The story mode, in my opinion, hurt it the worst. I think the story mode was bad. I don't like the Sparking Zero story mode at all. It's just slideshow to slideshow to slideshow, and then you do a fight. I think it would have been a lot better if they didn't have a slideshow, to be honest. Even voice acting would have went a lot further. They don't have voice acting for the slideshows. It's just a picture, text bubble, you read, you smash A, and then you go to fight a battle. And you're only really doing it for gold. But I really wish, like, I've always said this, I wish they would have cut half of the story mode and just did Super and animated it. But no, they did everything from Z to Super. Some what ifs were pretty cool. The what ifs are pretty cool, but they're not really memorable because it's not a fun experience to get to the what if. But the online versus is decent. Is decent. Obviously, the game has problems. Perception. It had the androids, the after image strike. But I can't take away from the fact that Bandai did have the fans in mind when they wanted to make this game, and I think they did a decent job with it. But yes, Dragon Ball Sparking is my number 5th game of the year. My 4th best game of the year is Dragon Dogma 2. Done. It's good. It had a lot of problems on drop. 30 FPS, microtransactions, fast travels, not be able to respect your character customization. But past all that, the game it's still a good game. I don't think that was Capcom developers' choice. I know for a fact the people who were working on monster designs, combat design, it wasn't their choice to add microtransactions. But nonetheless, the game is good. There's nothing more fun than just walking around in the world and then you just see a eagle or a lion with a snake tail and you just climb it and you get that Shadow Colossus hit, or you just stumble upon a cave and you just get some nice treasure or loot. It definitely did something for me, especially as my favorite movies of all time being the Lord of the Rings trilogy. This was just it just felt like Lord of the Rings trilogy, you know. And at least that's how I played it. In my brain, all I felt was like I was just a warrior trying to save the world with my teammates. And it's just so cool. The difficulty, I kind of wish the game was harder. I wish they had like the game was a little bit too easy in my opinion. I never struggled with anything. There was never a time where I even had to think. It was just a slash hack and slash game. The NPCs, your teammates, are pretty smart. They're not dumb. I like that. They use their brain. The enemy NPCs, I don't think are that smart. They're right. They're not dumb or anything, but they're all right. But yeah, DD2 pretty good. The story was all right. I barely remember it. I got to give it like a solid probably 6 because I don't hate it, but I don't love it. The game was just more fun, just running around, destroying enemies, destroying a dragon, a bald eagle, or a ogre. Then was the moments this game really hit, and yeah, I would DD2 is a good game. My number three game of the year is Helldivers 2.
Requesting orbital. Requesting air support. That's called democracy.
Helldivers 2 is awesome. I mean, the game came out of nowhere. It took the gaming community by storm, by surprise, for like 3 months, and it still holds up to this day. The difficulty spikes are all there. The leveling up system feels good, progressing. It doesn't take a long time to level up. They have plenty of ways to play, plenty of weapons, plenty of aerial strikes. It's a $40 experience, which is perfect because it's definitely worth $40. They don't. The online is fine. The players are fine. They're not idiots for some reason. They're pretty good at the game. The robots that they added, the aliens that they added, are all fine. I love Helldivers 2 is just a fun experience. It's nothing too crazy. You just play it, plug in your headphones, you hop on the game, you just go kill a few aliens, you complete a few missions, and it's just good. It's just a solid time. Helldivers 2, I would recommend it to anybody. I would recommend it on any console, PC or PlayStation. But yes, Helldivers 2 is my second favorite game of the year. My number 2 best game of 2024 is you shouldn't trade with Paul. Paul fit kind of nice. It's just his hairstyle.
I expect you to keep.
Tekken 8. There's nothing short to say. There's nothing wrong with Tekken 8 in my opinion. It is the most complete fighting game in a very long time. I think Tekken 8 is the most complete fighting game. Even compared to MK1, it had everything was working on launch. MK1 had a lot of problems, even though it was the same thing as Tekken. But Tekken has the best story mode out of the big three, in my opinion. I absolutely love Tekken story mode. It's nothing but a movie, which Tekken did pretty well. You're just watching an anime and you get a match every few seconds. And it's easy to follow if you've never played Tekken before. You don't need to play Tekken to understand the story of Tekken 8 story mode. The online netcode is, I wouldn't say it's perfect. It's a solid 8 out of 10. The rage quitting system, or not rage quitting system, but the disconnect system is good for a fighting game. The roster is a 10 out of 10 roster, has every character, every archetype. The customization is perfect too. I absolutely love the customization. I've spent plenty of time in customization just looking at it. The game is very difficult, but it's also rewarding for those who want to learn in training mode. Your training does not go unnoticed in a game like this. But yes, Tekken is probably is my second favorite fighting game of the year. I love Tekken. Now, my best game of the year is Warhammer 40,000. Space Marine 2. Yeah, Warhammer 40,000 as, my favorite game of all time. Or I won't say my favorite game of all time, but one of my favorite games of all time is Gears of War 3 and the Gears trilogy. Warhammer is it is basically that but 4K. Titus, amazing. I wish they had more voice lines. I wish they talked more, but the gore, excellent. The story, so fun, so easy to follow. The whole team is cool. The multiplayer horde and not horde, but operations is super fun. You can play through every operation, and you can come back a few months later and do it again. The versus mode is fine. I don't think the versus mode is the best, but it's hard to balance the versus mode with the classes they have. But the another thing this game does is the moment to moment dopamine hit is always there, especially in the story mode. The game doesn't let you get bored. It throws a boss fight at you or it gives you a new weapon. I recommend if you play Warhammer, you play the story mode first, so you can experience the weapons in the story mode. Because I played Operations first, and when I got to the certain weapon, I've already knew what was expected, so it felt like I was just playing extra, just gameplay and not experience something new. But when you're playing the story mode and you get to the jetpacks and the hammers, which I didn't play, it feels nice because it's something new, and you keep getting that newness if you don't play Operations first. The cutscenes look amazing. The CGI cutscenes was super cool. I think Focus Entertainment hit on every note on Warhammer. Yeah, I think Warhammer is good. Action packed. The story is an 8 out of 10, but that's saying a lot for a game that's not even its main focus. Operations is, I still play Operations to this day here and now. It's perfect. The difficulty is there. I love difficulty in games where it's difficult, but it's only difficult if you're not the game rewards players who are trying to be good at the game. Which is nice because a lot of gamers want the game to be easy. But no, this game is very, very difficult. But if you're good at the game, if you're working well with your teammates, then the game can be a breeze, and that is so rewarding. But yeah, Warhammer 40,000. I would recommend this game 10 out of 10 times. It's for everybody too. That's another thing the game does. It's for everybody. It's not like a gatekeeping hit. You don't need to know anything about Warhammer to play it. The game will tell you about Warhammer if you play it. Yes, Warhammer is my favorite game of the year of 2024.